Hey everybody, this is Kevin, your host for Kevin's Corner, Real Estate from Marketing Perspective. And we're back with segment number 2 of episode number 83. And my second guest is Valerie Treece with Weichert, the Murray Group. She's a real estate agent in the Fort Wayne County area that I heard earlier you've been around for almost 10 years, correct?
Yes, that is true.
So why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody a bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Well, as Kevin said, my name is Valerie Treece. I began in real estate about 10 years ago. Prior to that, I had been working marketing. My parents own an air conditioning company for 40 years or longer, never mind. But I had been handling all of their marketing. Okay. But my father had an accident. He's okay, but that caused him to kind of reduce the business, and he didn't need me getting him new business anymore. Right. And so my husband, being in construction at the time, said, why don't you get your real estate license? I see realtors all the time. You could certainly do it. Mm-hmm. And I signed up that March. And by July, I had my license. I interviewed with a few companies, and I felt truly at home with Weichert. Mm-hmm. They're an excellent brokerage. They have 4 offices through the Houston area, and I stay here, of course, in Sugar Land. Great support. We have a partnership with Leading RE, so we're worldwide. We work with a lot of relocation clients as well. My favorite, truly, though, is that first-time home buyer and that first-time seller. I have found that there's a lot of misconceptions in real estate and a lot of fear surrounding a real estate transaction, and it really doesn't have to be that way. Right. And particularly in the month of January is an excellent time to get involved with a realtor, to start having that conversation, because the springtime is historically a time people start getting ready to move. Right. And you want to be ready to go before everyone else is, to avoid the potentials of the bidding wars. You want to have your house ready for the market while all the buyers are, the most of them are out there, and things like that. But again, if you're leasing and you have the ability to buy, your credit score is close or there, why not start building equity and wealth for yourself, mm-hmm. and start making plans for your future? Because
it's not impossible to buy a house.
Absolutely not.
There's just some things that you have to prepare for in order to be able to do it, to get approved for it for a loan. You're here in the Sugar Land area. What part of town do you consider yourself to be the expert?
I actually have a lot of experience in all 3 zip codes. I currently have a listing in First Colony, but I have my children go to school in the 77498. I've done a lot of business in the Sugar Mill area and the Hill. We keep actually a close eye on that because it's a very popular area. Mm-hmm. And really all over Sugar Land is an excellent place to live. I love Fort Wayne County in general, mm-hmm. because no matter who you are or what your family lifestyle is, there is some place for you. So if you want to be close to everything and be in the suburbs but be able to get to Houston quickly or the country quickly, Sugar Land is the place for you. Excellent schools, easy access to everything. We're constantly getting new stores and developments. Yeah. But then we have Needville and East Bernard, and then going out towards Brazoria if you're looking for more of a country feel. And I grew up in Rosenberg and Richmond. I remember when the first Super Walmart was built and Super Kmart, which then was the DPS and now is, I think, a Black Friday store that I have yet to check out. So I've seen this area grow and change over the past long time.
Yeah, you've been in the area most of your life.
Yes.
You've been an agent for about 10 years.
Yes.
Tell everybody I think you mentioned it earlier, but what kind of transaction do you prefer? What kind of agent do you consider yourself to be?
Well, I'll say this. I have worked all kinds of transactions. I love being a listing agent because, again, with all that preparation, I'm that agent that we don't have a one and done conversation. You sign a contract and the house is on the market. We're going to walk through the home. We're going to look at what a buyer might notice, some ways to kind of to make it ready for the market. Things an inspector will see that really aren't that big of a deal and can be handled, but become a big deal if it's on an inspection report. Right. And I love, again, like I said, my first-time home buyers. And really for those 2 groups, there's just so much fear involved when you're just thinking about the real estate transaction. And it does not have to be scary.
So you mentioned twice now, the fear about buying or selling a house.
Mm-hmm.
When someone comes to you, since you've got almost 10 years of experience and you seem to be a really, really good real estate agent, if I come to you and I have that fear, I have that issue, how do you handle it? What's an initial conversation or an initial meeting with you look like?
Excellent question. What I like to do is, first of all, have a sit down. I do insist we either go to my office or we go grab a cup of coffee, or I'll come to your home. Mm-hmm. And I want to get to know you, and you get a chance to get to know me. Mm-hmm. But honestly, as a realtor, we are bound by confidentiality. I tell all of my clients, I'm like a priest or a lawyer. None of your secrets will be shared. But as long as I know what is going on, I can then tell you what the consequences of each different path we could take. And
they've got to be honest with you, right?
They have to be honest with me. And 9 times out of 10, people are. Mm-hmm. I've had a couple of situations where people weren't honest with me, but we were able to scramble and fix it.
Mm-hmm. Everything's fixable.
Yes.
You have a sphere of vendors like myself and Huron, and maybe painters or roofers, your husband, and just people that if someone comes to you and they have an issue with something, you have a way to get it fixed.
Absolutely.
And do you manage that for them, or do you say, here, call this guy and then let me know when you're done?
There is actually an element of they need to go ahead and make that conversation themselves.
Okay.
That way, you never want to play that telephone game. Is the way I see it. If you're the customer or client says one thing, and then I've tried to bring it up to the.
You've been around for almost 10 years. How do you get your leads? How do you get business?
Well, most of my businesses come from sphere of influence. I've always volunteered heavily with my children's school, in that I've been the PTA president a couple of times. I'm currently the troop coordinator for American Heritage Girls, Texas 1001.
We need to get her autograph for she is.
I think service to our community is very, very important, and that translates in my real estate business as well. I have been focusing more on doing more mail outs, going kind of kick it back old school. That's exactly what I was doing for the air conditioning company I was marketing for, and it was always very effective. I use Vistaprint and design my own, and I do want to start, one of my goals for 25 is to do more videos and more social media videos. Yeah. So when you invited me to do this podcast with you, and I got to see some of them and see that they were videos, I'm like, excellent.
Looks like I'm going to learn how to do a video. Well, since you brought it up, doing video is the number one way to market anything today. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. That's basically one of the reasons why YouTube was created. And agents ask me all the time, well, if you want me to create video, what am I supposed to create? What am I supposed to use? What's the content? What's the topic? And that's a very easy question to answer. Sit down and just make a list of 50 pain points of things that could be your potential customers, clients, that they come to real estate agents and need fixed. Whether it be what's the difference between being pre-approved or pre-qualified for a loan. I'm looking at buying a new built house and they keep telling me I need to get it inspected. Why? It's brand new. Well, you and I both know there's hundreds of reasons why you should get it inspected. But those are examples of things that people come to agents to get fixed. Those are the things that you create the videos on, because you want to become the expert, and you have a sphere, and you've been doing well over the last 10 years with your sphere. But if you want to get clients and do business with people that you've never met before, you got to get out there. You got to get yourself out there, and the easiest way to do it, video.
Yeah, and that's exactly my goal. I really want to help you with any real estate needs that you have. And I mentioned that first-time home buyer and our sellers, but I've helped people with investments. I've helped people in divorce situations and death situations, getting married, they're having a baby, all kinds of different situations. I can't say I've seen everything, but I've seen a lot. And what I haven't seen, Wayne Murray has been in the business longer than I've been alive, and I know he's seen a lot. And so I always have everyone in the office is a phone call away. If there's anything I don't know, I can get the answer quite quickly.
All of these things that you just talked about, You need to put them on video and get them on YouTube and get them on your social media so the rest of the world can see that you are an expert at those things. And when people see that, it's just like Huron. I mean, and he said earlier he's not even on social media. Well, we're going to change that. So he wants to increase his business. He needs to get himself out there and do video about what people have problems with real estate. He's the solution. You're the solution to their problems. Okay?
Yes, absolutely.
People come to you and say, hey, I'm a first-time home buyer. I want to buy my dream home. That's a problem. You can help them fix that. So doing video is a great opportunity for you for this year. If you want to talk about it more, get on my calendar and come by and see me. But I'm a big proponent of video. I mean, I tell agents, number one, on social media, you need to be posting at least 3 times a day. And most agents do that. Okay? But it's very easy because if you think about what it is you do every day in your business, everything you do is postable. Mm-hmm. So, if you went to a CE class this morning, if you went up to lunch with another agent, if you went to talk to Huron, if you came to this podcast, whatever you did today, that's postable. Went to a listing appointment, went to your listing and cleaned it up or whatever. All those things are postable. Those are all different things, and what do they make you look like online? An expert, because it's all this different stuff. So I hope you stick to your goal and
absolutely.
What are you on social media?
I certainly am.
Okay.
And honestly, a quick Google of Valerie Treece will pull up my Facebook, both personal and business, my Instagram, my HAR profile, as well as my website, which is valerietreece.com.
So you have your own website?
Yes, I do.
That's a whole other conversation. I don't want to take over the podcast, but that's good.
And from there, you can plug in your address and get kind of a cursory valuation so you have an idea of what your house is worth. Of course, only a walkthrough of your home, the actual condition, and a conversation with a real estate agent will get you what market value would be in the current climate that we're in today.
Do you have a YouTube?
I do not.
Okay. Do you have a Google My Business page?
Yes.
Awesome. She had to think about it, so she's got to revisit that.
No, that was, in the past 3 months or so that I added that in there.
Oh, you did?
So really,
Okay.
if you Google Valerie Treece, all kinds of things that are me come up. There was one other Valerie Treece, a younger girl from somewhere else in the country that is not as active as I am on social media.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. What would be, if someone came to you and said, hey, I want to buy a home, but I don't have the credit for it, or I don't have the down payment, or I have this issue or that issue. Can you help them fix that?
Absolutely. In fact, I have quite a few people I'm working with at the moment that are in varying levels of dealing with those exact things.
Okay.
So I could certainly plug them in with the right people, and we could put down a game plan so that home ownership is attainable.
Get them to the point where they can buy a home.
Absolutely.
And what do you think about the market right now, and what do you think it's going to be like for this year?
I think that consumer confidence is coming up and that it's going to be a much better market this year over last. And it has evident, too, in just doing open houses over the past few months on the particular listing, that in the holiday season and towards the end of 24, we get a handful of people. And the last one I held, I had 30 people come through.
Wow.
And so there's a lot more people starting to look around and consider options and think about making that move.
I know that towards the end of last year, we were busy. Contracts were coming in from agents like yourself. The start of this year until about 2 weeks ago, nothing. It was just nothing. This week, right before the ice storm or the snowstorm, and this week, it just picked right back up. So I'm a big proponent of, you got to look at the glass as half full instead of half empty. And I think that, at least for me, from my perspective, from Stewart Title and the 2 offices I represent, we did fairly well last year. So I'm only looking for things to be even better this year in 2025. So tell everybody, how do they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. My phone number is 713-927-5877. Of course, you could check out ValerieTreece.com, or my email is Valerie@ValerieTreece.com.
Awesome. And tell everybody one characteristic about yourself that you haven't mentioned that they will experience.
I am dedicated to your goals. Once we get a chance to hash out that plan, I'll help you stay on track, and we'll make it to the finish line.
Awesome. Tell me phone number one more time.
713-927-5877.
Valerie Treece, everybody, from Weichert, the Murray Group here in the Sugar Land area. You need a real estate agent. She's got almost 10 years experience. Sounds like she knows what she's talking about. We've been doing it for 15 minutes. She comes into my classes. We work a lot together. Oh, and by the way, she makes a damn good cookie. Okay? Not going to tell you anything else, but she makes a really good cookie.
Well, I'll say this. I make them every holiday, and for all my clients that I'm showing homes to and my open houses, I have those cookies.
There you go. So look her up and go to one of our open houses just to try her cookies. All right, guys. This has been episode number 83 of Kevin's Corner, Real Estate from a Marketing Perspective. Thank you to Herman Burroughs from Goosehead and Valerie Treece from Weichert, the Murray Group. Again, if you are watching this and you want to be on the podcast and you're a real estate agent or a vendor from the Fort Bend County area, call me 832-654-0527. And I always end the podcast by saying thank you to Jennifer Smitis, Caitlin Cornick, Devaney Devon, Anna Ditmore, and Kate Cannon in Richmond. Without you guys, I would not be able to do the podcast. And if you're a real estate agent and you need title and you're not using Stewart Title, shame on you. You will be hearing from me. Bye, guys. We'll see you next week.